and welcome to Porthole. I'm Steve Milne, and in today's program we're taking you on a journey of discovery to one of the hotspots of the Caribbean. We're delving into an island that is described as the perfect destination, whether you're after a romantic or rejuvenation or adventure away. St. Lucia boasts a genuine natural landscape of gorgeous palm-fringed beaches, miles of unspoiled rainforest and majestic peat-and mountains. And here to tell us more is Chelsea Lewis. Chelsea, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
So let's first of all start about where basically is the island?
So St. Lucia is located in the Eastern Caribbean, and it's a beautiful tropical island with palm-fringed beaches, as you mentioned, and natural world wonders. And
can we talk a little bit about the history? Because from a little bit of research I've done, I understand that the French and the British had battled for a while over the island. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so St. Lucia has a very rich history. The indigenous people were actually the Arawaks and the Caribs, but for a number of reasons, perhaps due to its strategic location in the Caribbean Sea, its sugarcane, and just the fact that it's so beautiful, the British and the French took a very keen interest in the island. And so for over 150 years, they battled with each other to gain control of the island. And within that time, it exchanged hands 14 times. So it was 7 times French-owned and 7 times British-owned.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can still find evidence of the battles today. So there's an area called Pigeon Islands National Landmark, which is in the far north of the island, and that's where you'd find the 17th century fort ruins and, you know, army barracks that can be explored today.
Excellent. I guess that is probably a popular destination for tourists.
It is actually, especially those keen to learn about the history and, you know, that love to learn and understand the culture a little bit more. They all tend to kind of gravitate to Pigeon Island to see those ruins.
So in regards to the cruise ships that come, how many cruise ships approximately come per year, do you know?
Well, we have several hundred, over 300 actually, that visit the island. And we're really lucky that this year P&O Cruises announced that St. Lucia will be its Caribbean home port for 2017. So the number is growing. It's a very popular destination. And so we're really happy about that.
I think that's a very popular line with the British holidaymakers, isn't it?
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we'll be welcoming the Brits.
Fantastic. When you do dock and that comes in, how far is it to get into the centre?
Okay, so we're really lucky in that Castries Marina is actually in the heart of the capital. So when the ships dock, they're literally there in the capital of Castries. So it's just, you know, on the doorstep. They don't have to take a taxi if they don't want to. They can just take a walk and stroll and explore, you know, the shops and the banks and everything else that this vibrant capital has to offer. So in regards to transport, what type of transport options do people have if they want to get around? So there are many. They can hire a car if they wish and just go off, you know, the beaten track and explore tiny villages, fishing villages. They can hire a taxi. The prices in St. Lucia are set, so people always pay the correct price. Brilliant. There's also the option of a helicopter tour, if they wish. Wow, that sounds good. It's amazing. It gives beautiful aerial views of the rainforests and the jungles. And of course there is water taxis, which are widely available as well. So many options. I guess it depends what you want to do, what you want to see and how you want to get around, but there's lots to do, which is good. Can we talk about the weather? What's the climate like? Sure. So typically it's around 29 degrees, 30 degrees all year round. Although we're really lucky that we have, you know, it's moderated by this northeast trade winds, which, you know, gives it a really nice temperature. And in the evenings and during winter, St. Lucia is a little bit cooler. What about visa issues? When people arrive, do they need a visa? It actually depends where you're coming from, but most European citizens do not need a visa to come to St. Lucia. And what languages can you expect to be hearing and speaking when you're there? Due to the history of the French and the British ownership, you'll actually find that we have taken on both of their languages. So the main language is English, which everybody in Ireland speaks, but there's a local dialect, which is a French-based Creole, which you find people will speak when they're at home, perhaps, or during certain cultural festivals. Now, there's a lot to do, obviously. The images we've seen look fantastic and it looks great. What Tell me more about the mountains, the Piton Mountains. Tell me about that and what they are like. Okay, they are absolutely amazing. Yeah. You know, I never tire of seeing these mountains, and I go to St. Lucia quite often. Mm-hmm. So they're majestic, they're legendary, they're beautiful. So we have Petit Piton, which means small peak, and we have Gros Piton, which means big peak. They are UNESCO World Heritage Site, and recently they were nominated to become a new wonder of the world. So that gives you an idea of just how stunning they are. With Gros Piton, it can be climbed, and it should take around 4 hours to climb that mountain. And the trail that you walk around to get to the top was created by runaway slaves, so it's actually steeped in history.
Gosh,
and you'll
that's
also
really
find,
interesting,
it's brilliant, and you'll also find caves on that mountain as well, where the slaves would live. And then once you get to the very top of the Porthole mountain, you see the entire southwest coast of St Lucia and 2 neighbouring islands from up there.
So it might be a 4-hour trek, but worth the view.
Pretty amazing.
What about beaches? Well, I mean, obviously they look fantastic.
Yeah.
Are there many beaches people can explore?
There are loads of beaches in St Lucia, and they're all equally as beautiful as each other. We're really lucky that we have 3 types of sand as well. We have white sand, we have golden sand, and we have black sand. And what's really special is the black sand is that it's more of a dark golden, to be honest with you. But because St Lucia is a volcanic island, the sulphur has mixed in with the sand, darkening it slightly. And when sulphur mixes with sand, it leaves lots of quartz in it. So it looks, there's quartz crystal in our sand, and it sparkles in the sun, and it's beautiful.
Beautiful. I was going to ask about the volcano side of things.
Yeah.
So is it warm, and obviously what's that like to explore?
So our volcano is located in an area called Soufrière, which is in the south of the island, and it's actually the Caribbean's only driving volcano. It's the sulphur springs. You drive into that. You actually drive into a caldera, which is a collapsed crater, and that's where you find these hot botanical mud baths. They're amazing. You get into the water, you scoop all the mud out, you put it all over your body, you let it dry, and then you rinse it off again. And it's great for skin ailments, and it actually turns back the years as well. So anyone with the wrinkles will enjoy a trip there.
So you can have a relaxing holiday and look younger.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What other destinations or tourist places would you recommend people should go and see?
I think definitely a trip to Pigeon Island National Landmark to look at those fort ruins that we talked about, mentioned earlier, definitely. And because St Lucia is one of those destinations which offers more than just the beach, the options are endless. I mean, we do have an 18-hole championship golf course.
Oh, brilliant.
We have a protected marine park and award-winning dive sites for anybody that wants to see what underwater looks like. We have over 180 species of birds. 7 species in particular are endemic to the island. So those 7 you won't find anywhere else on Earth.
Wow.
So anyone that enjoys bird watching will have an amazing time, trekking through the jungles and rainforests looking for.
And there are some beautiful gardens as well, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Across the island, St Lucia is very lush and very green, and our flora and fauna is stunning. So lots of gardens to explore for sure.
What about for the adventurous type? Anyone that wants to get a bit adventurous out there? We talked about climbing the mountain.
Yeah.
There is also a treetop adventure park. Is that right?
Absolutely.
What's that like?
It's so much fun. So you actually get in a sky canopy tram, and it takes about 2 hours to move through the rainforest.
Wow.
And then once you're on board, there's a guide who points out the different attractions you see as you're moving through, and the panoramic views from up there are absolutely spectacular. We also have 3 zip lines on island, so regardless of where a visitor might be staying, if they're just coming off the cruise ship, they're in good location to a zip line. But then there's the quad bikes as well, the kite surfing.
Fantastic. Mountain biking as well.
Mountain biking, jungle bike riding. Windsurfing, the list is endless.
I guess, if you want to go out and see the whales as well, is there whale watching services?
Yeah, so our whale and dolphin watching is all year round, but you will see more of them during the migrating season, which is towards the end of the year, end of summer. And
I'm assuming if you want to try some snorkeling or scuba diving, they'll teach you? Is there any way you can get
absolutely
some experience?
Yeah, so there's lots of beach vendors which offer the snorkeling gear or the scuba diving gear. So it's very easy. It's very accessible for most people. We also have something called helmet diving, which is really unusual and quite fun. So it's literally it's offshore diving. So people pop a helmet onto their head, similar to maybe not quite similar, but like a motorbike helmet almost. And it has an oxygen tube that runs out of it, and you literally walk underwater.
Wow.
So that's a great alternative for someone who didn't want to do the scuba diving or snorkeling.
And I guess swimming and exploring that underwater is brilliant. But if you like sailing, I can imagine that there must be some great experiences if you want to go sailing as well.
Perfect. You know, there's so many options. You can do your romantic cruises or your party boats. There's also a brilliant pirate ship, which I think is so much fun. Yeah, it takes people down the Caribbean side of the island, and literally you can be chased by pirates on board. You know, there's a rum punch and fruit punch, so it makes for a really great day out and great for families.
I was going to say, it sounds to me like a great destination for adults and the kids.
Absolutely.
Families alike, something for everyone. What about seasonal? When's the busiest time and when do most people arrive throughout the year?
Well, at St Lucia, we're really lucky in that it's a year-round destination. So the fact that we have great tropical weather all year round means that, you know, we're open and welcoming for visitors at any time of the year.
I mean, we've mentioned quite a lot of different things to do.
Yeah.
What would be your top couple of picks out of the ones we've talked about so far? The mountains sound good to me. I mean, they sound incredible.
I mean, when I climbed the mountain, it was just probably one of the most amazing experiences of my life, actually. And to think I've climbed a UNESCO World Heritage Site, for sure, that is definitely up there. I always encourage people to visit the Sulphur Springs.
Yes.
It's the Caribbean's only driving volcano, so you won't have any other opportunity to do it again, except in St Lucia, so it's worth having these once-in-a-lifetime experiences.
What about if you want to just relax? What if you don't want to do adventurous side of things? You know, if you want to just go there and just chill out, I'm assuming you can do that as well.
Absolutely. So we've mentioned that we have stunning beaches. You know, there are quite a few beach bars as well, so people can just buy a lovely cocktail, a nice ice-cold beer. You know, the local beer is called the Piton, and just sit back on a deck chair and just watch the waves crash.
Sounds
really.
Lovely. A couple of beers in the sun. Sounds very nice. Okay, well, stay with us. We'll be discovering more about what St Lucia has to offer in just a few minutes' time. Welcome back to Porthole, the programme where we delve into the heart of the most popular cruise ports, and today we're getting a taste for the Caribbean paradise that is St Lucia. Chelsea Lewis is still with me. We've talked about some amazing things to do when you're there, but one thing that's very important is food. What's it like with all the different foods we can try?
So food, we have such a wide selection of food on island. We have an area called the Rodney Bay Village where you find over 40 different types of cuisine there, from you know, a local sandwich shop right through to a fine dining seafood restaurant to a local cultural beach restaurant, for example. The local food in St Lucia is typically French influenced with a Creole twist, and lots of organic herbs and spices are used in the dishes. And
is there a local dish that we should definitely try?
So it's called the green fig salad, and basically it's green banana mixed with saltfish, which is a salted cod, and it's often mixed with a creamy mayonnaise, and some people add a mixed veg to it, but it's absolutely gorgeous.
It does say green banana.
And I do recommend it, yeah.
Is it just not ripe, or is it just...
I think it's actually a different type of banana, yeah, so it's not the I guess the sweet banana that we used to eat over here.
Is it expensive to eat out?
No, not at all. In St Lucia we have the Eastern Caribbean dollar, and so the pounds go so much further out there. So you can eat a really hearty local meal for about £5, to be honest with you. But in saying that, we do have some award-winning restaurants and some fine dining restaurants as well, where you would pay a little bit more money, but prices that are, I guess, in keeping with the types of establishments that you're dining in, being fine dining and award-winning.
What about restaurants or places for lunches? If people are coming off the ship for maybe just the day, is there a variety of places they can eat their lunch?
Absolutely. So the ship docks in Castries, the capital, and there are a number of restaurants there, some overlooking the marina, some just within the capital itself, but then a short bus ride away in the Rodney Bay Village, there's lots of casual cafes, and there's a beach restaurant there as well. So if people wanted just some really casual lunch experience, and there's plenty of options.
I guess you have to try the fish. It sounds to me like the seafood.
The fish
is
it's so fresh and tasty. It's straight out of the sea, really. So
it's brilliant.
You can't get better than that.
If you are lucky enough to be staying for a couple of nights, what's the nightlife like in St Lucia?
The nightlife is brilliant. St Lucians absolutely love to party. Okay. They really do. So we have 3 street parties on island. So the most popular one is in an area called Groselay, which is in the far north of the island. So just think of a carnival, but without the costumes. So you get these huge sound systems in the streets, and food's being barbecued, and you hear all forms of genre of music. So that's a really good option. And then in the evenings in the Rodney Bay Village, it really comes alive. There are bars and clubs and restaurants and a great casino there as well. So plenty of options.
I guess there's a lot there for families as well as maybe teenagers or people that want to go out to nightclubs. Is that available as well?
It is, yes, definitely.
And I guess it's all year round as well.
It's busier on the weekends, definitely. And it's even more busier during our peak season. So over the Jazz Festival in May or, at carnival times. So that's when, you find it busy over most days of the week, but typically it is the weekends.
Are there many festivals or events throughout the year? So you talked about a jazz festival. Are there many throughout the year?
Yeah, we have St Lucia's such a wide and large calendar of events. So during the month of May, we have the St Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival, which is such a fabulous time to be on island. We have really big named artists like John Legend, for example, and UB40 and the Jacksons, who come out and perform live to the locals and all of our visitors. And then they're supported by the local artists from around the Caribbean.
What about shopping? And if people want to go out and buy, shops and duty free, what's to be expected?
So they'll actually be spot for choice. So excluding the duty-free options within our resorts and within our 2 airports, we actually have 5 on island where people will find, brands that they recognise like Calvin Klein and Rolex, so they really can shop till they drop.
Is there a souvenir that we should get? There's always something that you should get at certain places. Is there a certain souvenir that you'd recommend?
In St Lucia, we have banana ketchup, which is really fun.
Love it. Green bananas, lots of bananas.
I know, we're banana mad.
Okay.
The banana ketchup is just a really unusual sauce. It's highly unlikely that you're going to find it anywhere else, and so I do recommend that somebody buys.
What do you use this? What's the sauce go with?
You can use it with anything really. You can use it with your chips or crisps and dips and things.
And it sounds to me like the Solutions like to have fun.
They do.
So there is a carnival that we touched on before, is that right? It happens each year?
We also have a carnival.
Yeah.
It takes place in July, typically the 3rd weekend of July. So it's 2 days of jump up in Castries, again the capital
What's that?
of Jump up.
Right.
2 days of just partying, basically.
Just up, yeah, brilliant.
And festivity, and you see these amazing avant-garde costumes and people having a great time.
Lots of bananas.
Yeah, if you wish. And we're really lucky in August we have Chocolate Heritage Month, which is amazing.
A month?
An entire month of eating chocolate.
Fantastic.
So St Lucia has a really long history of growing and exporting cocoa, and at this time of year we celebrate that. We do have working cocoa plantations and hotels that grow their own cocoa, and so you have your own chance to plant your own cocoa tree and just try the cocoa in all its various forms, really.
Absolutely. I mean, you think there's one type of chocolate, there's lots to try, lots. I can imagine.
Yeah, and chocolate daiquiris always go down really well.
That sounds nice. Anything daiquiri goes down well, doesn't it? It sounds lovely. So it sounds to me like the locals, they must embrace the visitors. They must like having people coming to visit.
Absolutely. So St Lucians have a reputation of being the friendliest and warmest people in the Caribbean, and they're just so welcoming of anybody and so happy to see visitors, really, and show them all the best that the island has to offer.
So when the carnival, for example, we talked about, is there street performers and are people just randomly expressing themselves and singing? Is it that kind of vibrant atmosphere you can expect?
Yeah, it's everything, and there are just parades of bands with their different costumes just moving through the streets, and trucks with music playing and vendors on the side selling food and drinks, and people are just there to have a good time, just to party and soak up the atmosphere.
Absolutely. Can I ask you, I can imagine it's a very popular destination from people coming from the UK. How easy is it to get to St Lucia from the UK? Is it easy?
It's really easy, actually. We're really fortunate to have 13 flights a week going to the island. So we've got British Airways that flies daily. We have Virgin Atlantic that flies 5 times a week. And we have Thomas Cook that flies once a week. And then next year we will have TUI sending their Dreamliner into St Lucia, and you can fly to St Lucia from Gatwick as well as Manchester Airport.
Okay, and how long's the flight?
Typically it's about 8 hours, and a direct flight as well.
And what about accommodation? What type of accommodation could you expect?
You can find a range of accommodation. Again, we're really lucky to have such varied accommodation. Anything from, all-inclusive to luxury resorts to couples only, family-type properties. We have just in the most amazing locations, hotels on cliff tops, hotels with an open wall concept. The list is endless.
It sounds to me like it really is, if you want to go with your family, it can cater for the entire family as much as maybe just an adult's retreat as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we're really lucky that some of our resorts take babies from newborn as well. So if parents
Wow.
did want to have just a little bit of time out, you know, just a tiny break, then they can leave their children with someone, you know, really responsible and take good care of them.
Sounds to me like you need a bit of time. How long would you expect? Would you recommend, or would you say you would need to enjoy most of the adventures we talked about? How long do you think you'd need to be there?
Goodness me, you can be as short a time as 7 nights,
Yep.
but you know, you could spend a month there and still not, you know, do everything, you know, that the island has to offer.
Well, there is a lot to do, and I'm thinking of 100 things I would love to do. But if people are going to arrive on the cruise and they've only got a day, what would you recommend in that day that they should definitely do?
I think they should definitely go to see our UNESCO World Heritage Sites, those legendary Piton Mountains, because you're never going to see them anywhere else on Earth.
Yep.
Definitely take a visit to the Sulphur Springs, the Caribbean's only driving volcano, because again, you won't have that experience anywhere else on Earth. I think it's an amazing time to grab the opportunity to take a stroll through the rainforests or the jungles and visit, you know, a really amazing cocoa plantation.
And don't forget your banana sauce.
Absolutely. A visit to the market for the banana ketchup.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for watching as well. I will see you again next time as we look through the Porthole. Bye for now.